Hi sisters, icedalmondtrash here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing back the Siri voice to give you guys a timeline of every James Charles scandal, because there is no denying he is one of the most controversial YouTubers in the beauty community. Before James Charles calls his lawyer on me, I would like to explicitly state this is not a hate video, but rather an organized video of all the tea that is already on YouTube. You're welcome. And of course every single person is entitled to their own opinions in the comments. A lot of these scandals occurred on Twitter, so feel free to pause the video to read the screenshots. The Ebola scandal was the first major controversy James had gotten himself into, and since he was the spokes model for CoverGirl at the time, both CoverGirl and James received a lot of backlash, from people being pissed over his racism, to some highly qualified historians spitting Ebola facts.
As you know, I was in South Africa for my school trip for 10 long but amazing days. For those of you guys who are wondering about everything that went on prior to my trip, I just posted something on Instagram and Twitter for the first time in a while, addressing everything. So if you would like any details or information, please go check it out and give it a read. That post really meant a lot to me, and the visit I'm talking about in the post literally changed my life. I will not be talking about this anymore. It is done with. I learned so much, and I'm looking forward to continuing to learn and to educate myself further.
Although he tried to issue his apology, he was called out once again for saying Africa is a country, when in reality, it is a continent. In November 2016, James was invited onto The Ellen Show and told his story about how he became a CoverGirl spokesmodel, and this is what he said.
So I emailed the photography studio, being like, was there be any chance of me being able to retake them? And they actually said yes. So I drove there right away, and I redid my makeup, and I brought my ring light with me, and we retook them, and they turned out really, really good. Yeah. So I posted them on Instagram and they went viral literally overnight.
However, in March 2017, James was exposed by his old friend Thomas Halbert. Thomas shared a series of tweets that reveal the story of James and his senior photos was in fact a lie. The photos were actually edited and James admitted this to Thomas. This scandal is probably one of the pettiest and dumbest things I have ever read. James tweeted his opinion on the It movie by calling it awful and predictable, but was later dragged by the whole internet including the legendary Finn Wolfhard. However, James did own up to his actions and issued an apology for what he had said.
I want to personally apologize to Finn and anybody else involved with the making of the movie It. I saw it a few nights ago in theaters with friends, and I personally was disappointed in the movie, so therefore during the movie and after I tweeted saying it was awful, which was the social media over-exaggerator coming out in me, but it was rude and obnoxious, and I'm apologizing for it because that was wrong. The movie, if I'm being honest, was not awful at all. It was a fantastically made movie, the acting was great, the cinematography was absolutely beautiful, the plot development was great, the character development was absolutely great. I personally was disappointed in the movie because I had not seen the original or read the novel, and based on the trailers and the previews, I was expecting it to be a very, very scary movie. It looked like there was going to be a lot of jump scares and a lot of really, really scary scenes, and those are the type of movies that I love and love going to see, so I had high expectations for it. And when it was more focused on plot development and character development, and there's nothing wrong with that though, it was not what I was looking for or was looking forward to, so therefore I was personally disappointed, which is why I voiced my opinion, because that is my job as a social media influencer, to talk about those things.
He even created an Pennywise makeup tutorial a month later. Overall, this scandal was basically over nothing. Moving on to late March 2018, Shane Dawson asks James who has been the rudest celebrity he has ever met, to which James replies with this.
Who's been the rudest celebrity you've ever met?
Ariana Grande.
Can you talk about this?
Yeah, I guess.
Have you ever talked about this?
No.
This is everything. Hello, how have you been hyped? This is Gigi Gorgeous on YouTube Red. It's everything.
I haven't really talked about it because I really like Ariana. I just had a really crappy experience with her, but I went to her show here in LA, and that's when I met Kim Kardashian for the first time, who was so nice. And I posted a bunch of videos on my story from the night, The next morning I had woken up and she had DM'd me. I was like, oh my god, thank you Rhea for coming, and she was so sweet, and I was like, oh, I love you the most ever in the world. To this day, I don't really have hard feelings about it. I think she's so talented, but she had followed me and DM'd me, and I was like, oh my god, I love you the most ever, like, thank you. And she was like, oh my god, wish I knew you were coming, like I would have loved to have you backstage. And I was like, ah. This is right after like all my scandals started happening, so I was getting like a bunch of really angry tweets from her fans that were really mad that she had followed me, and literally 4 hours later I started getting tweets being like, wow, Ariana unfollowed James, like the rat gets what he deserves, like wow, love karma. And I was like, what the heck? So I checked and she did actually unfollow me, like literally 3 hours after she
Maybe
followed
you
me
just
in the first
tweet
place.
too much.
Probably. But I messaged her back and I was like, hey, like, did I do something wrong? And she literally was like, hey babe, like I just saw a lot of angry tweets from my fans and I would never want to disappoint them, so I unfollowed. And I sent back like a very like strong worded message to her, and I was like, you have 100 million fans, it's really disappointing that you would like stoop to the level of listening to people bullying me just to like appease them, but okay. I've always looked up to Ariana, and I think she's one of the most talented vocalists like of our generation, but it just really sucked that like I was literally getting bullied by her fans, and instead of like just ignoring it and like building a friendship, she literally like listened to them and unfollowed, which is just like saying that like that's okay to do.
Yeah, she could have done nothing, ignored it, and just kept DMing you.
Yeah, like it wouldn't have been that deep. That was a disappointing interaction.
Just days later, Ariana fans became pissed and started attacking James. And if there's one thing I've observed with large fandoms, is that you really don't want to mess with their idols. James ended up issuing an apology once again for his actions. While the beauty community was up in flames, James got into another feud with Makeup Geek founder Marlena Stell. Marlena announced she was filming a Netflix documentary on the beauty industry, and James was not happy about it at all, accusing her of stealing his idea and being biased. Then they kept tweeting back and forth at each other. This scandal occurred after Marlena's truth video, where she blamed entitled influencers for overcharging small businesses, hence derailing their success. A lot of people believe James is one of those influencers, so I'm guessing that's why he became so defensive against Marlena but not Netflix. Quick reminder that it is Netflix's documentary, and Marlena only stars in it, so she couldn't have stolen his idea. It wouldn't be a James Charles palette without a sister scandal to go with it, or in this case, 3 scandals. When James revealed his morph palette on YouTube, there were tons of people accusing him of pre-swatching the color Spooky.
Last but finally not least, after No Beans, we have the black shade in the palette called Spooky. I named this after my love for all things spooky, like horror movies and Halloween. I just love being sister spooked.
After people started questioning James, he admitted that a few shades were layered twice. This is understandable, as certain eyeshadow colors such as blacks, purples, etc. are more difficult to manufacture and swatch nicely. In the same month, a Twitter user posted a video, accusing James of failing to address some of his eyeshadows had stained her eyelids and gave her hives.
The hives that I'm getting on my eyes are not from my makeup remover or base. James did not warn me about the staining. He didn't tell any of us. I can safely say you should skip using the color Skip. My other really good friends got the palette as well, and guess what? Same shit happened to her. She has swollen eyes, it stained her skin, and she has hives. Explain that, Mr. Charles.
James responded with these tweets. The user did not accept his apology and continued to come across as your typical Karen, or can I speak to the manager type of person. For once I'm going to agree with James' response. It was just straight up facts served and you couldn't argue. Many other makeup lovers also expressed their experience with pink and purple shades, to which they explained it is normal to have stained eyes. The last major scandal occurred in December 2018, where Lauren Godwin posted a TikTok destroying the James palette. A lot of people including James were incredibly upset, since many people could not afford the palette or could not get their hands on it because it sold out. However, Lauren defended herself.
And I see videos on the internet all the time of people breaking their makeup, breaking their girlfriend's makeup. So I was just like, why don't I do that for TikTok? And I chose the James Charles palette. So sorry for anyone that wasn't able to get it in their store or get it on time. And for the people saying you could have given it to someone who couldn't afford it, I bought it for a friend. I wanted my friend to have a palette as well as I bought one for myself to use. So that's what I did. But I'm not accountable for the people who got knockoffs. Like, that's so sad that they got knockoffs. I'm so sorry. And I'm sad for the people that weren't able to get it. I bought 3 with my own hardworking money. From a business standpoint, when I buy the makeup, I'm allowed to do whatever I want with it once it's purchased.
James ended up apologizing for his earlier tweet, but when Jeffree and James posted a video where they destroyed makeup, many people found this to be hypocritical, as James was very upset at Lauren for destroying his palette, but he didn't seem to have a problem destroying other people's makeup. In James's video with Jet Whittock, he made a comment about trans men, to which people believed was transphobic.
In science, in regards to like LGBTQ people, there's what's called the Kinsey scale. So the Kinsey scale is from like 0 to 6, 0 being like completely straight, and 6 being like completely gay. Okay. And I truly believe that the amount of people that are a flat out 0 or a flat out 6 is like very, very small. I think that most people are very close to the ends, but there's a huge percentage in the middle too. If I had to put myself on it, I would put myself at like a 5.5.
So you're not even full gay?
I mean, no, there have been girls in the past that I've like thought were really, really beautiful. There's also been like trans guys in the past too that I was like really, really into for a moment.
After doing some research, his final comment implied that transgender men are not fully men, hence making him less gay. James apologized for his wrong use of words on Twitter, and was faced with both backlash and people who understood his perspective. When James announced his long-awaited Sisters tour in April 2019, there were plenty of excited fans. Little did they know, the tickets were being sold at ridiculously high prices, with the cheapest ticket being sold at $52, and the most expensive being sold at $500. That's literally more than what big-time artists charge, and of course everyone was outraged. James had to issue several tweets which are now deleted to justify the prices. The main reasoning seemed to be because the goodie bag had a high value, but if we do the math and assume the goodie bag does cost $250, you're still paying $250 to do a Q&A, meet and greet, and have a chance of being brought on stage, which is absolutely ridiculous. You might as well just get the normal VIP for $99. If you were alive during May 2019, you probably already know or have heard of this fiasco, but for all those people who have no clue what this was about, or if you're just looking for a recap, here we go. This scandal publicly kicked off when Tati uploaded a series of stories to Instagram. She was extremely upset and hurt by James for promoting Sugar Bear Hair, which is a competitor to her own brand Halo Beauty.
Through this whole journey of YouTube, I feel like I have been someone who's been super supportive to my friends, and it's been really crap to feel like, not that you should do things to get support, but like, you know, you should support one another. That's how it should be. And you know, I'm having one of those days where it's like smacked in my face of what's what, and having to take a look at things and realize what they are, and not wanting to realize what they are. I'm just so upset. I feel really used, and that's the bad part of Hollywood. Welcome to business. Everybody says what they need to say and uses who they need to use to get ahead, and I have had about enough.
James issued an apology and claimed the reason he promoted Sugar Bear Hair was because they helped him with security at Coachella. Just days later, Tati uploaded a 45-minute video titled "By Sister." Here is all the important information that I have cut down for you guys. You're welcome.
There's so much going on with James Charles right now that I do not support, that I do not agree with. Fame, power, and a fat bank account will change almost anyone. My husband would spend hours on the phone looking over contracts, getting him in a better position. So we helped him get into Style Hall back when basically no one wanted to work with him because of his Ebola scandal. But once again, you know, we had his back. They got a boutique management around him. They finally taught him how to monetize his videos. Another thing I have an issue with is James Charles never even apologized to my James. I've promoted him, I've supported him, I've put him in so many videos. Every time that I hold up a Morphe item, I always say use code James because I wanted him to make it and make enough money to feel like he had the resources. It's just really funny that we didn't end up collabing until it was in his favor. So he was popping off online about exposing the beauty community and doing a docu-series, and I was like, no. How entitled do you have to be to think that you have it rough? You are a 19-year-old millionaire. Like, don't expose the community because you're part of the community. Like, do you think you're better than everyone? Because you're not. It was really hard to see the way he was treating Marlena from Makeup Geek. Get off your high horse and have some respect. You don't have any for the people who are in this industry longer than you, and that's the sad fact. The last phone conversation that James Charles and I had, he said some things telling me about a situation that happened in Seattle at my birthday. Oh my God, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again, and somehow you're the victim. You are using your fame, your power, your money to play with people's emotions. You're threatening to ruin them. You're threatening to embarrass them. And you're doing that to have them behave sexually in your favor, even if they're straight. And you know what? That's not okay. And how dare you laugh about it and make meme after meme and retweet and this and that and I love straight boys, and make it a joke. Him talking explicitly about sex and things that he would like to do, and I was just like I thought around his parents that he would not behave this way. Like, it was just like, no big deal. Like, sucking dick and cock. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, time and place. And you did it at my birthday dinner. And I made excuses for you then. You were talking in detail about things you wanted to do to the waiter. And when I said, James, he's straight, your response was, doesn't matter, I'm a celebrity. And you said that in front of my family. In front of my childhood friends. I had to call every one of them up the next morning and apologize on your behalf because it was so uncomfortable. You went to Coachella, somehow had a security issue, and magically Sugar Bear Hair is there with a contract in hand to save the day for you and all of your friends. No company would ever go out of their way to have an extra, handful of passes that cost thousands of dollars a piece. Like, just in case, there's value there and there's a value exchange. That leads me to believe that this was orchestrated beforehand, but he had an emotional conflict because of me and promises he made to me behind the scenes. You say you don't like the brand. You, I'm sure, hadn't tried the product for more than a week because they offered you that deal on the spot at Coachella, and 9 days later you had the story. So you hadn't even tried it for a full month. The reason that James always said that he couldn't promote Halo on his channel and really do heavy endorsement was because he has a teenage audience and it would just be inappropriate. No, our relationship is not transactional. I have never asked you for anything in return. You're a phony. I know that now. I know that you're easily bought, that a good time is more important to you than your integrity. And if everybody's like, oh, come on, a 10-second ad, it means nothing. If it meant nothing, they would have just said, have the security and safety. Don't worry about us. Like, I texted you, hey, I'll give you a sponsorship if you want one. Like, don't do this, it will hurt me. And you kept it up for 24 hours. Of course I didn't want to call you back. But then you go and post an apology and you can't even mention my brand name. Like, I'm not an idiot. I know what contracts look like. I know what the exclusivities look like.
The video came out while James was in the Gold Coast, Australia, before a public meet and greet. He quickly uploaded a video titled Tati, which was just a super awkward 10-minute video that didn't really explain anything, so we won't go into that. At this point, James's career seemed to be gone as he began losing millions of subscribers, and to top it off, He was 2 hours late to his meet and greet, and was accused of setting up fake paparazzi at Brisbane Airport. When James returned to LA, he uploaded a video titled No More Lies, where he explained everything that Tati accused him of doing, as well as his own personal issues and Jeffree Star's involvement. But since this scandal was mainly about Tati and James, I have cut down all the relevant clips relating to the two.
On April 19th, my best friends and I in the family group chat made the last minute decision that we wanted to attend Coachella Weekend 2. Because it was so last second, we were only able to get VIP tickets, which is not the same as artist. VIP, although VIP is still very, very open to the public. Artist passes, however, are passes that you cannot buy. The only way you can get a hold of them is through a brand getting them from the actual festival or through having a personal connection to one of the artists or bands that are playing. It's in a very, very highly secured area that is not open to the public. Keep in mind, weekend 1, I did have an artist pass. Weekend 2, I had a VIP. When we walked into weekend 2 with me and my friends, we noticed that there was a major difference in the crowd. We were in the VIP section and I started getting mobbed really, really quickly at a super unsafe capacity. I had remembered from weekend 1 that my friend Nikita, Dragon, who I was with a lot of the time, was brought by Sugar Bear Hair and had an artist pass, personal security, and backstage passes and was very, very taken care of and safe. When I felt unsafe in the situation, I panicked and I texted Nikita and asked her if she had a connection to the Sugar Bear Hair team that could potentially help me out. Nikita replied right away and she gave the Sugar Bear Hair team my personal phone number, to which they reached out to me and offered to come rescue me with a pass and backstage access and security to make sure that I was okay and was able to enjoy the festival along with my friends. Before posting my stories, I actually did text Tati first out of respect for her, giving her heads up about the sponsorship, but she was immediately upset. Throughout the next several hours, I made countless attempts to text both Tati and her husband James, and many phone calls as well, trying to reach them, all of which they did not respond to. And later on that night, while sitting in my hotel in San Francisco, because I could not reach Tati, I issued a public apology directly on my Instagram because I really wanted to make sure she saw that I was sorry. I have never, and would never, and will never use my fame, money, or power to manipulate or get any sexual actions from a guy. What did happen is that me, Jeffree, Nate, and my best friend Drew all flew to Seattle to surprise Tati for her birthday on February 14th. That night, we went out to dinner with Tati and James and her whole family, and we're in a restaurant. There was a cute boy across the restaurant that I kept making eye contact with and that I was interested in. The I'm a celebrity thing is really incredibly frustrating to me because this is an inside joke between my friends and I that Tati has also participated in, and she twisted this to be something far worse than what it is. This is the joke that really is where we say I'm famous, not I'm a celebrity. Famous is synonymous with anything good. So yeah, if my YouTube video does well one day, my friends will say, oh my God, James, you're so famous. But literally, if my friend takes a good Instagram photo, oh my God, you're so famous. The next day, Sam slid into my DMs first and I happened to see it. We started talking back and forth and he mentioned that he was flattered by me flirting with him the night beforehand. A few minutes into the conversation, I asked him about his sexuality and he told me straight up that he was bisexual. Later on in the conversation, he asked when I was leaving Seattle and I told him the next morning, to which he responded, I wish we had time to hang out, and I said, hey, why don't you come over to my hotel tonight? We can watch a movie together. He said, sounds good. We watched the movie together and we cuddled. After the movie, I asked him if he wanted to kiss, to which he said yes. After making out with Sam for over an hour, I did invite him to sleep over at the hotel, but he said that he wanted to go home and be in his own bed and think about everything that was going on. He then left and sent me a message afterwards thanking me for being so understanding, and I told him that I would always be there for him if he needed literally anything. On May 2nd, Sam texted me from his friend's phone saying that he was fully gay and needed to talk to me about something important. I called him, and instead of talking about that, he asked me if I was talking to another guy at the same time that I was talking to him. I was a little bit confused as to why I was being asked this, but I did answer him honestly, and then I asked him what made him come to conclusion with everything. To which he said, I'm actually not fully gay. After dealing with this a million times, I was frustrated, and I hung up.
Tati has since deleted her original video, and James has built up his reputation again extremely well. As of this very moment you're watching this video, it feels as though everyone has just forgotten about this scandal. And that pretty much sums up all of James's major scandals. If I were to include every single scandal he had ever gotten into, we would be here for hours. Don't forget to leave some love and follow my Instagram.
2 to the 1, from the 1 to the 3. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more ass than a toilet seat.